do it. I just got to update some page things. Okay. So we've got his head to the left. So again, as I said, this particular idea we're looking for is that I can get longer and longer and longer. And the only reason I want to get longer is that I can shift my weight to more places. No? So it's this ability to keep finding more of myself that I can shift the weight to. No? It's not the only reason, but it's a big part. So more and more and more of me can touch the ground on that side. And so that as I get more clarity about more of me touching, I've got more possibility to get lighter. And then as I get something light, could something else get light? But it can only get light, other bits can only get light if there's still ground for them to go into. So I'm constantly going through this process of different parts get light. So it's a little bit like, I thought I'd take you for a moment back to, the lesson Lisa taught the other day on the ball, which was giving you ground. Really getting that idea of, as you're rolling along the back, you're finding all of these places that can give more and more to the ground. Yeah? So there we are. And we already discovered that if that's going to happen, ideally for the head to turn this way, this shoulder is going to come up more, this one's going to come, it's going to go up and forward, this one's going to come back a little bit and down. So we're getting into that asymmetry that supports all of this for people. And then yesterday we were looking at bringing that up. You're normally looking to get it to 90 degrees at least if you can. Because as soon as someone's down here, they're more likely to be extending in their back. And we're really looking to get some lightness in there. So, you're really looking at that rotate really driving. So for some people, you really have to shift them quite a long way to get the hip up enough. No? So we looked at different ways, different places you could initiate from yesterday to do that. And the reason you need lots of options is everyone is different. So it's really nice, I think, I can't remember, you do it with one person, you think, oh, I've got it, got that under my belt. Know how to do that. And then, of course, you hit the next person and you go, oh. No? And it's their self-image. You've got to find the bits of them, the parts of them that it makes sense for them how to connect through. Right? So, where's a stool? Yeah, thanks. Do you want to get that one for me, Ruth? No, that wooden one's great. I'm not going to be on it for long, just that I can sit. So often we get lots of people's legs up there. So we bring it up and it's really light, and I'm a prime example of this. And then we put it and it gets heavy again. It hasn't stayed in that position where it's really light. So at the moment, I still need to be taking some weight on it. No? That's absolutely fine. But you're just going to check that. Do you know what I mean? When I put their leg up, is it that it stayed really light, or have they sort of had to rolled off that side a little bit again to have to take weight into it again? which is absolutely fine. It's just something you're noticing. So one of the things that you can then do is you can come under a little bit like we were doing with the sternum and the head, getting that little bit of a stick feeling that we were talking about, that you can come under the knee. And again, my stick is going to be, it's really easy here because I've got a straight bone, not like here where I've got a million joints. Huh? I've got the stick into there. Where would it be good to connect it to? If I was going to make a stick to start to move this. What about if I thought of the opposite hip? No? I'm not saying it'll work, but if I just think here with my stick, I've got a stick, but it doesn't mean that it's going to connect all the way through. So usually when I'm using this stick idea, it's to join through joints. No? It's to sort of give them a sense that parts of them can connect that they don't think of connecting. No? Yeah. Yeah. But I might not get the other hip, the knee and the other hip. So it could be the knee here. But, you know, I could go through and just feel, where could I feel that maybe I could get that stick to? Because unlike where we had here and here, where we were lifting them away from the ground, here, the other end of my stick can be ground. Just like when you were doing with Lisa, pressing through, that you had one hand and the other hand, the other point of your stick, if you like, was ground. Yeah? So I can be thinking of that stick and thinking through, and then this hand's here, but it's not doing a lot. It's just feeling, can I feel that? And I can begin to feel, then can that help to lighten it if I'm thinking? Because this is the next, this makes sense that it's going to be the hip that I want to get to. Because if this hip moves, I want that hip to move. So I'm always looking for both hips, both knees, both feet, the ribs, spine. And because I've got that big picture, then I can begin to feel what's not ready to come. So for him, it's really interesting. It's this elbow won't come. It's not connecting. No. I've got 2 points. So as soon as I move this, this is going to move.
You're sort of thinking there's a straight line that you're pushing towards there, that the force of your hand is pushing to that hip?
No, it's not a push. It's a stick. Stays exactly the same length. Yeah, I'm moving it through space, but it's a stick.
It's not the direction of the force.
Oh. The distance stays the same. Yeah. So I'm not trying to show, I'm not, but the bits in the middle can move a little bit. So it's not that to that, because if I think that to that, I've stuck all these joints together. Huh? So it was like I was showing you yesterday with here and here, there's still movement in there between the 2 points. They're going together, but it doesn't mean I've... Huh? But anyway, just it's an image that works for me. Okay, so once I get that and I can get it a little bit lighter, I can then come in, and I mean, there's a million things you can do, but I'm just going to show you a couple that often I'll do. So then if I can connect to that opposite hip, even though this isn't really going and that's not all in his image yet, but I'm okay because this is mobile. Huh? Then I'll often come in on the thigh and support the weight of the thigh. So I'm holding this in my hands. Huh? If it's really heavy, do you know what I mean? I know that the weight isn't shifted enough. So they might not be light enough yet to lift this. So I'm going to go more centrally again, because I'm always going to get more change centrally with a small movement than I am distally. So I'm going centrally. I'm just going to support the weight of their leg, and then I'm just going to think of some planes of action. Could I move this hip a little bit up and down? Or the leg a little bit up and down? So that's one, that direction. Could I move it a little bit up and down? So now I'm going this plane of action. Yeah, so we've got up and down that way. We've got up and down, if you like, this way. What's the other one? Yeah, this way. That's the other plane of action, isn't it? So I could lift the hip a little bit closer and bring it a little bit away. And what I'm looking for in all of these is the weight is shifting differently on the other side. So I'm not looking just to manhandle the hip. I'm looking for this as a way to shift weight, yeah, through the other side. So that's the connection. Yeah? And if I feel it, I feel it. And if I don't, I don't. It's an idea that I use. And then I could come back and just see, did his leg get any lighter? Yeah? Just by helping those little weight shifts. So then, if we were going to come up here to the shoulder girdle, and again, remember, we've always, right at the beginning, we've always been checking that the pelvis is free. This is free. So if I do anything and I come back and I go, oh, this got stiffer, I'm not on the right track here. I've lost the connection that I had between their head and their pelvis. So what would I do? I'd go back, yeah, and go, okay, so was I thinking of that area when I was doing this? Did I just sort of get into this, yeah, where they couldn't adapt up there? But I'm constantly checking that these to me, you know, I'm going to use bow bath language here, which most of you won't know what it is. I think of them as key points of control. This and the pelvis are like, if I'm having a freeway system, these are where the big clover leaves are going, and all of the different directions are coming through these points. So if I've got a little bit of give either of that in both of those, I'm not going to get a traffic jam. But if one of those isn't available, I'm going to get a big traffic jam. No? So they're two really important points for me. So then we can do the same thing. No, they're resting here, and their arm is wherever it is, and I can go in and do the same idea, but again, I'm thinking what's happening here. So I'm not just doing this. Huh? And it's really interesting because if I even do this just with him, his head gets really heavy and starts to push into the ground. Huh? But as soon as I've got, this has to go through the collarbone, through the sternum, through this. This is the area. I've got to keep this free. Yeah? And I've got to get through to that other shoulder joint. Huh? And I'm just going a little bit up and down, a little bit up and down, way. Just those 3 little planes of movement. Huh? No? Sit back, get his arm lighter. So, does someone want to lie down, and I'll quickly do it with someone just so you can see it. Thanks. So whichever side's easy for you. Sorry, you're right. Couple of other things that Lisa and I were just talking about, getting people comfortable in prone. So we talked yesterday about the people who are really asymmetrical. Symmetrical, that you just give them some soft padding along the side that you're rolling them to, or in the middle to start the shift. Now, I don't want the padding on that side. Do you know what I mean? I don't want that to be the ground. We're trying to shift their weight. Other things I'll do, and I'd probably do this with Chelsea, because her feet aren't very ready to move here. So Chelsea, come down. Her feet aren't ready to move. That's a great one. Just letting their feet go over the edge. Yeah? Just so that they're not trying to organise their feet into this long position, because often that is what's going to make their back extend, because they haven't got that freedom in their feet, especially in their hips is what it's really all about. How's it feel, Chelsea? Yep. So the other way you can do it, if Chelsea goes up, thanks, Chelsea. With Chelsea, she could also have, because her legs are pretty light here, I could put a soft roller under her knees. But it'd be a fairly soft roller, because in this lesson, I'm not using these as levers in this lesson to get a weight transfer. I just want this to sort of just have a bit of support and find the ground. But for Chelsea, it actually works even better down here. Yeah. Other thing I'll do, and you can imagine there's a lot of people that when you see them, that they can't get enough hip extension. Yeah? So this can't really extend. They tend to be here with their legs a little bit forward. I have got a huge cushion that's probably about that big. Yeah, it fits most people pretty much down the shape of their torso, that I will put under them. And I've yet to have anyone who can't get comfortable on that. No, it's a fairly soft cushion. Yeah. It's an old sofa cushion I found that I just... You have all sorts of... But that works really well. Pillows can really work really well as well. I've found generally the bigger surface is helpful rather than a smaller surface. Brings the hips up so they can be a little bit flexed in their hips. Because the problem with most people is they can't get that extension in their legs that lets this be comfortable. Well, so they're there when they're lying down. They're more on this part of their belly. Whereas, so if we move Chelsea up again, sorry, Chelsea, you're being wonderful here. See, now this isn't taking weight. Her weight's all moved up into here. Yeah? And I can guarantee this won't be as free. Yeah? Come down again. I want this, my ideal is the pelvis is taking weight. Yeah? It's got support under it. Here, this has got weight on it. She's got weight now on her ASIS, the front. She's not stuck, So I know because this key point of her sacrum and pelvis is taking weight. I guarantee you this will be freer. Probably usually I want those hips to be able to flex. Yeah? So I don't want it too much coming here because that's not going to help. It's the same as this. It's exactly the same. But you can see that where I'm getting to is this is taking weight. This is the prime mover in our organisation. All the time. I want the pelvis to be ready to take ground. Huh? That's my goal. Because it's just so designed. So if I just, look, she's so well organised here. Chelsea, lift your head. I've given her ground. Keep going. Just keep going. Up, 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 going. Up, 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 up. Now, if I give her ground here, which is where she wanted to really have it before, now do it, Chelsea. She won't get very far. She can't mobilise down here, which is where the power is. Yeah? So it's, let me give you another example. It's the same in that lesson Lisa just taught, and the people, she goes, you know, who are the people who can do it easily? I'll give you a clue. Okay? So if I'm getting that and my sacrum is organising into the ground, and my legs will bend. As soon as I do this and send it all to there, I haven't got. No, because that's not what the lesson is about, Lisa. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just saying that's the lesson's about so many other things. But that's the power of the pelvis. That's the power that we need to let our head be free. Because as soon as I give Chelsea this, up you go. Turn your head. Look over your right shoulder. Look over your left shoulder. Look underneath your shoulder. Yeah. Then I could just take her anywhere. Because she's got the power down here. So that's an aside, but it's beautiful, isn't it? So this ability to find ground through our pelvis and not stuck, but that it's moving over the ground. So we'll just move a leg up to the side. So that was really light, but I also know with if you understand what easy organisation is, it makes it so much easier to teach. Because we constantly talk about it, you know, pelvis must know the head. The head must know the pelvis. What's the pelvic clock all about? You can do anything you like. This is where you can't give recipes. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone's an individual. But you're going to try things. You're a scientist. You're going to try something and you go, does that make this connection easier? If I even just think that I want the pelvis and head to be more connected, am I on track? Because if you get those ideas, they're your organisers to know are you on track in your FI, no matter what you're doing. So Chelsea, I could tell when I brought a leg up that it was easy, but this is. And you can see it in her organisation, that there's still a fair amount of weight onto this leg. So Chelsea, if I said lift this leg, She can't. It's not that she doesn't. She can't. Huh? She's still got too much weight on it. So this is where I'm coming in under her. So I'm not. Where is? There's good for you. Yeah. So I'm thinking now. There. Huh? So I lift her and I feel that, and then so now I've got the stick, if you like. Huh? So now I'm just going to move this a little bit down and a little bit up.
When you have the stick, so you're going to put trajectory when it's going.
Yeah. Do you know what there? So what I mean by what I've got the stick, it's a really great one. Here, I haven't got the stick because lots of things could wobble around. As I lift and I'm thinking through to that other, there's her hip. Now I've got the stick. No? And now I just move this a little bit up, a little bit down. No? So I'm just, again, small movements, but I'm thinking, not, can you feel the difference, Chelsea, if I'm just doing it here, and I can feel I'm working hard in my back now, compared to if it's I'm looking for a shift of weight. Then I could go up a little bit and down a little bit, up a little bit and down a little bit. And then the last one is horizontal, so across, closer, and away, closer. She likes that one. And then I could join those into a little bit of a circle, if I can. Huh? But it's all about that shift of weight. Huh? It's not just about this hip making a circle. And then we can just come back and see, did that lighten the leg a little bit? Yes. Huh? She's now got the idea that this can come back into her. Huh? So I could leave it in a little bit lighter place. That feel different? Nothing? Yeah. So then we do exactly the same thing with her arm. So again, I just check, how's that going? I might now put that arm down for her, yeah, because that's making more sense that her arm would be down as this is all getting longer. So it's really the same principle. How light is her elbow? How easy is this to begin to lift? And it's not as light as it could be. So and you can see because she's still more spread. Yeah? So the biggest surface, obviously, I'm taking, I've got to do more to shift my weight to get something light. No? Does that make sense? Yeah? So I'm sort of decreasing her base of support. I'm basically making it smaller and smaller and smaller as to where she can organise herself to have her base of support. Yeah? So we do the same thing. Go in under. If the shoulder doesn't work, you can go into the shoulder blade first to do this. So I'm around now the shoulder blade and I can do, but again, see, I'm thinking this has to respond, this has to respond. So I go up till I feel I've got a stick. There it is. And now I just boom, 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 boom. No. So can you feel that weight shifting, Chelsea? Yeah, small. It's a very small. It doesn't matter. It's moving. She's not stuck. Huh? Yeah. Then I can also come in and just get her humerus and do the same thing. And if I've already got that, what I'll find is I can get this whole shoulder to start making the most beautiful circles within itself and the shoulder girdle. But I'm still thinking of that opposite Huh? I've got that inclusive attention. And I just come back. Oh, something happened. Huh? Yeah. So she's worked out, I don't have to have such a big base of support anymore. There's something in my organisation that's finding more about a little bit of length and a little bit of that, I don't have to have such a big base of support. And if we feel this now, so now lift your head and feel how much, and this is what's starting, you're not having to put as much weight on here. Can you feel? It's going straight to a pelvis. And you're even seeing, and you'll see this with the lesson Feldenkrais does tomorrow, go and do it again, this leg's getting light because we're reducing this base of support even more. That she doesn't need so much of it because centrally she's finding out how to get this, all of these bits to the ground. Okay, she can bring herself up. So if you were going to turn now, yeah, and turn the other way. Huh? Because the head was turned. Yeah? So everything's oriented to filling in this space. So often after a lesson like this, what you'll see is because she's been oriented this way, this whole world is bigger. This whole right side of her now, it's like there's just more out there to move into. Can you feel that, Chelsea? Peripheral vision's huge, yeah. And just she'll feel more, just that there's more sense, that she doesn't need her eyes as much. Check out, because that's what she's done. It's peripheral vision now. She's not having to use her eyes to know where all those things are. Yeah, she's got this beautiful peripheral vision that's just going to pick up movement. Yeah. And you can see she's not having to look to say, I know that space now. I don't have to use my eyes to know that space. There's something in my all these other sensory systems that's woken up for me. Okay. Off you go. So again, you're going to get them in lying. You're going to check where you want their head to be, right? So that you've got some freedom